We bet you didn't see the plot twists in Wednesday Season 2 finale coming, as they turned out so huge and enough to answer lots of questions, but also to create new mysteries, which further sets us on the dark and gloomy path of what's coming next. Thing had some identity crisis this season, as we saw how it tried to look for answers by joining a support group. However, the questions soon got answered, with Isaac Knight being the owner of the severed hand. And after getting reunited with Isaac and seeing how different they are in values and actions, Thing had to detach itself because it's now a whole being on its own, and his life and future in his hands, meaning that in Season 3, Thing will continue to be the loyal family and assistant of the Addams, without a doubt or struggle on who he really is or where he belongs. It's obvious now that there's no other family that matches its freak or adores him as much as the Addams, and now that his history is known, he's just going to continue to forge in the path he knows works best for him. Interestingly, Thing wasn't the only one who got a lot of shocking moments this season, as Tyler also had one of those where he met with his mother and his uncle Isaac. And towards the finale of Season 2, we saw that Tyler also shares different ideologies from his mother and uncle, as he does not want to conform to the norm, but rather keep his powers and continue being a monster, but without a master. However, since his mother and last master have passed away, Tyler's only way forward in Season 3 is to join the pack of Hydes that Isadora Capri suggested. When it comes to Hydes, we now know that Isadora is experienced with these monsters, with her ex-lover and father being one of them. So, in Season 3, Tyler won't just be roaming the woods by himself, trying to hunt down Wednesday or anyone in his way, but will become even more powerful and self-confident after joining a community of Hydes. Tyler was right when he mentioned he was done with mothers and masters, and even after joining the support group for Hydes, he won't be taking the back seat, as he's only going to grow more until he gets in control of it all. But then, joining and leading the pack of Hydes isn't the only thing left in Tyler's future, because he will meet Wednesday again. And this time, it will be another face-off he won't do alone. So, in Season 3, we can expect Tyler and his new team to launch an attack on Wednesday, or whoever dares to get in their way. A lot was happening in Wednesday Season 2, with ghosts returning to life and monsters being freed. Still, one of the most emotional stories in the show is with Bianca and her mother, Gabrielle, who were under the intense control of Principal Dort. It was great to see them have the best ending, where Principal Dort was crushed into stones and Gideon burned in the fire. Now, the future looks very different for both mother and daughter. In Season 2, we learned about the origin of the Morning Song cult and who created it. And in Season 3, we might get to see some more backstory on the damages caused by the cult and how much money Bianca's mother has made from working with them. Most importantly, Bianca and Gabrielle will have a fresh start in Season 3, where her mother finds peace, and they will use their siren song more positively. Ever since Principal Dort showed up on the screen, it became apparent that he had no good intentions, and it took a lot of back and forth before Bianca eventually exposed him. That means Nevermore will again need another new principal next season, since it's now a yearly ritual with the principals always packing it up every time. However, Nevermore itself has its own challenges, as it often ends a school term in chaos. Still, despite all that's happened in Season 2, that's not going to be the end of the school, because there will be a fresh start in Season 3, with a new principal expected to pop up and keep the Outcast Academy alive, and at the same time, the new principal will come with even bigger drama and darker secrets than we've ever seen. Although past Principal Weems might feature again in Season 3, we have seen the last of Principal Dort, whose memory will be as forgotten as he is dead. For Nevermore to feel whole again next season, Enid has to return as a human, which seems highly impossible based on where Season 2 left off. One of the biggest adventures that Wednesday will be dedicating her time to next season is the search for Enid, who has permanently wolfed out, as this has already been set up in Season 2. The last time we saw Enid in the woods, she looked lonely, scared, and unsure of her future, making her the lone wolf she feared to be. From being the one in the premonition destined to pass away to becoming the one who saves Wednesday from demise, Enid has done much more than was expected. Now she faces dark consequences, where she might be hunted and gotten rid of by other werewolves. And of course, she's trying hard to stay safe by staying far away from Nevermore and the other pack of werewolves. So, Season 3 will be Wednesday's turn to save Enid, and just as we've seen her set out in search of her at the end of Season 2, she will continue her search in Season 3 and won't stop until she finds Enid. But sadly enough, finding Enid isn't sufficient, as Wednesday would need to do whatever it takes to turn Enid back into a human. Although it has been established that it's impossible after wolfing out under a full moon, considering how different and special she is from the other werewolves as an alpha, Wednesday won't take no for an answer. She will do everything she can to overturn Enid's new condition. It's not going to be an easy task, but Wednesday always seems to find a way, even if it causes a lot of destruction to human lives. Also, in Season 3, there will be no love story with the main characters, as we've seen played out in Season 2. So, throughout Season 2, we saw how every love story Wednesday had going in Season 1 totally burned out, with Xavier completely out of the picture and Tyler becoming her sworn enemy. But then it happened most crazily with Enid, whose love for Ajax suddenly became non-existent. Bruno was completely dishonest, making Enid decide she would be romance-free henceforth, which means that in Season 3, there will not be a love story between the main cast and the boys at Nevermore. Instead, Enid and Wednesday will focus on each other, continuing their friendship while forming a deeper bond. The advancement in their feelings was hinted at in the whole of Season 2, with Enid confessing that she doesn't want to be a lone wolf, and Wednesday watching out for her by letting her know she's her pack and would never let her be all by herself. Also, the way Enid didn't mind the consequences of wolfing out under a full moon to save her friend, and the way Wednesday didn't go home to her family but went in search of her, shows us that a love story is imminent between the two, and this will be further explored in Season 3. Although it might not be the full-on romantic relationship everyone who ships their characters expects, we will get to understand more about how the show has always been about Wednesday and Enid and how they've grown fond of each other despite their different personalities. Wednesday has been searching for her psychic abilities throughout Season 2, but doesn't find them until the end, which shows us what happens next in the story. In Season 2, the one-eyed raven was never truly found until Wednesday saw Aunt Ophelia in her vision, who seemed to have been locked up by Grandmama. Aunt Ophelia also has high psychic abilities. We see her write what must become of Wednesday on the wall, and in Season 3, we will discover more about Aunt Ophelia's connection to the one-eyed raven and her vision for Wednesday's future. Despite this shocking finale, we also saw that Grandmama has a dreadful secret of keeping Aunt Ophelia away without Morticia's knowledge. And in Season 3, there will be a lot of drama between Grandmama and Morticia as the mother-daughter dynamic becomes even more intense. That means we can expect to see more of the Addams family next year, along with new additions to those we've already met. Speaking of new characters, Agnes was thrilling and made an impressive impact despite being a copycat throughout Season 2, but in the end, she decided to become more of her own person by staying true to herself and making her invisibility her strength rather than a tool to worship Wednesday for acceptance. And so, we have yet to see half of what Agnes can do now that she's no longer struggling to please anyone. In Season 3, we will see more of this character and her contributions to Nevermore, as well as how she comes through to help her friends in tight situations. So, Wednesday won't be searching for Enid alone, as Agnes would be right there and making the impact she had always wanted to make. Pugsley had a narrow escape this season and could have been toast if he hadn't been rescued on time. However, coming to Nevermore may have impaired Pugsley more than expected, because in Season 3, he might return with no powers, just like his father, Gomez. Earlier on in Season 2, Pugsley was excited to join Nevermore and make friends, and coming across Slurp gave him that opportunity and fun until it turned on him. So, his future might look like his father's, and he might have no chance to display his electricity skills or return to Nevermore in Season 3.